Hey everyone, this is Pickleball with Dave. Want to touch upon the Gearbox Pro Power paddle that you've been seeing out there. It's the newest in the Gearbox lineup, and I had an opportunity to play with this paddle for a little bit and warm up. And it does have that great power that many other content creators have been testing out and actually have hard metrics to show that. And one of the content creators actually, from a speed perspective, showed it was the hit the hardest of all legal paddles. That's miles per hour, and it's just below the illegal EV foam paddles. And so the most surprising part about this Gearbox Pro is not the power. Surprisingly, I was very surprised about the touch and feel with my drops and at the kitchen line. It was actually quite amazing that you could have such a powerful paddle, but act like almost a control paddle when you need it to act in that way. And especially, it's almost like the feel is so good. It's almost like it's an extension of your hand, which is interesting. And also, the sound is very muted, so that kind of throws you off a little bit. And so, I'm an Astria pickleball sponsored player, and I love my Astria SP. I think it's great. It's much less than the Gearbox, which is 275. The Astria SP is 202. I don't see a noticeable difference between the two paddles. And maybe just biased, but certainly the metrics don't lie when it comes to how hard that Gearbox Pro hits. I think that if you're a newer player or an intermediate player, you have to consider the price in your skill level in order to consider the Gearbox Pro power paddle. The reason why I say that is it's almost like being a videographer, and you've been established, you've been doing it for many years, you've got all the skills that's required to be successful, and you have mastered framing and aperture. You understand these things, and you know how it all works. Then you may want to, at that expert level or advanced level, then you may want to consider buying a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 camera. But if you're brand new or intermediate videographer, it doesn't make sense to go and buy that when you're just starting out, because you're just learning. There's no reason, there's no benefit in purchasing such a high-end camera, because you lack the skills and understanding to use that such camera to take your game to the next level, okay, when it comes to videography. So it's better to take something and buy something that is cheaper, where you can cultivate those skills, you can learn the basics of videography, and then once you have maxed out or have taken your videography, say that metaphor, skills to the next level, and that you have really exhausted your knowledge of cameras and videography, and the only thing separating you now is from creating great content or great videos is the equipment and not your skills. Okay, same thing with pickleball paddles. There's no reason why if you're the average pickleball player, if you're not rich, this doesn't seem that reason to be spending $275 on a paddle if you're a beginner or an intermediate, when you have not fully developed your skills in which that paddle will complement you, or it's needed to take your game to the next level because you've exhausted everything you could with your power and your drops and your just various skill components that make a good pickleball player. So when you're starting out, I don't recommend buying such a high-end paddle. And now, Gearbox isn't the most expensive. There's Selkirks that are like over $300. And so it's not the most expensive. But if you look like at a company like Astria Pickleball, right, and other companies like that, they have cheaper options from 100 to 200 that are very good paddles. I think that for beginner and intermediate, you want to be looking at those paddles. Don't get too much into the hype of what pros are using, or the branding and marketing of some of these high-end paddles, for which you're really not going to tell the difference. I mean, if you think about it this way, if you gave your mother, older mother, the Gearbox, a $333 Selkirk, or a Amazon paddle for $20, is she going to perform better with those other paddles? No, she's not. And obviously, you being beginner intermediate, it's almost the same thing. You're not going to perform better by getting those high-end paddles. Now, once you become advanced and once you have mastered a lot of those skills, then the difference between you becoming a better player is the equipment. Then that's when you kind of go ahead and purchase a high-end paddle like that. So that's just my thoughts. Again, I'm an Astria Pickleball sponsored player. I'm not touting the Gearbox. I just think it's such an interesting paddle, an interesting technology within the core that no one else is doing. That will I'll give Gearbox and the owner, Raphael, I believe is the owner. He owns his own patents. He's not resorting to the traditional honeycomb core like a lot of companies are, which is not bad. It's just he's deviating from that. And it's great to see innovation out in the market, whatever it might be for pickleball. I think innovation, new technology can only make the game better and make it stronger and more viable. And technology and innovation breeds more technology and innovation. So if no one's innovating and really pushing the boundaries, then it's not going to happen. So someone has to be the trendsetter, and I think that Gearbox is on the forefront of that. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.